This is the data-heavy part of the afternoon. Take out your phones. I'm going to go super fast. We have 20 minutes together. Churchill said it best. A pessimist sees the difficulty in every opportunity, and the optimist sees the opportunity in every difficulty. So for the next 20 minutes, this is how I want you to think about all the information I'm sharing with you. Headlines aren't necessarily reality, and they often ignore the needed interpretation. It is our job as real estate professionals to interpret the data and be the Sherpa for your customers. There are 4 things really influencing your potential clients. And if you've ever heard me talk about real estate, I say it's human condition. The 6 Ds, diamonds, diapers, diplomas, divorce, death, which we can't control. But the media is very loud right now. And if it bleeds, it leads. It's our job to educate with real information. I'm going to walk you through the data, and more importantly, what to do with it. Okay, first up, let's talk about the financial pressures and the market. So the economy is doing a little bit better, but we're not there yet. Stocks dropped 23% from October of 2024 through April of 25th. But then they went back up 38%. It's really confusing, which creates volatility. So consumer confidence has lagged. As of September, consumer confidence was down 3.6 points. Jobs also took a pretty big hit, down 900,000 jobs. Unemployment went up a little bit to 4.3, but when you think about it, that's actually below historic averages. That's an example that you need to communicate. US inflation's at 3% as of August of 2025. Again, much better than 9.1 back during the pandemic. Now, wages have started to increase, but adjusted for inflation, they're still below by about 21.2%. Now let's look at real estate. Existing home sales are up slightly from month over month and year over year from 2024 to 2025. But guys, that's still the lowest in 30 years. Inventory's up 20% year over year, but new listings are only up 2%. That means days on market has increased dramatically. And appreciation's at 2%, which is way below the historic average of 4.25%. But that's national information. So in some areas, that means we've seen year over year depreciation. Builder sales are up slightly, but if you look at inventory, it's up to 7.4 months. That's officially a buyer's market for new construction. And only 25% of that inventory is complete. Builder construction and dirt inventory is an all-time high. So think concessions, buy downs, and better rates for your buyers. Median home price is up slightly. And as I've said in a little bit, you have to pay attention to the new builds. All right, this one's heavy. The headline narrative is that rates are high. The problem isn't that rates are high. Rates are higher than the lowest points in modern history, which was the Great Recession and the runaway inflation fueled by a 100-year pandemic. So yes, rates are higher than historic lows, but the real problem we have in this country right now is affordability combined with interest rates, and the pandemic-driven location independence, write the stat down, drove prices up 54.9% since Q1 of 2020. So higher rates is adding to the mix, but you need to change the narrative and make sure buyers aren't missing out, because if they're waiting for mortgage rates to fall, they may fall a little, but not back to 2021 numbers. The real focus needs to be on solutions to affordability. Context is everything. Rates are well below the historic 50-year average of 7.71. Are you explaining this and telling this story? We have to get ahead of the headlines locally. More than ever, buyers rely on you to help them find the right home, pay the right price, and rely on your negotiation skills. They need your guidance on financing and down payment options. You need to spend time with your loan officer partners and learn about alternative financing products. Affordability is not just a buyer issue. This is crazy. 48 out of 50 states have seen double-digit increases in their escrow costs in taxes and homeowner insurance. For sellers, that escrow cost is putting downward pressure on where they should list their homes. And it's actually impacting the ability to remain in their current home if they're on fixed income. Are you reaching out to your database and having these conversations with your SOI, with buyers you put into that home 4 or 5 years ago? Now let's look at the competition between buyers and sellers right now. And this is really a supply and demand issue. First, mortgage demand is up. It's picking up. Mortgage applications went up by 14%. ARMs are picking up and now represent 9.6% of all applications. The Great Recession gave ARMs a really bad reputation. No income, no assets don't exist anymore, so don't worry about that. But buyers are turning to them as they're almost running a full percentage lower than conventional rates. But as you saw, inventory is rising across the country. Listen to this stat. 43 out of 50 states had double-digit rise in inventory. Delisted properties, expireds, withdrawals, cancels have risen year over year 50% within the past few months, seen 15% of listings being delisted in July, and in August, another 15%. And this is putting downward pressure on listing prices across the country. Look at that chart. Home price reductions are at the highest we've had in recent history. This is a script. Did you know, Mr. and Mrs. Sellers, that 22% of sellers had to reduce their price in September and another 20% in August? Anyone remember the last time we had these kind of price drops? It was the Great Recession. Did those prices stay low forever or for years and years? Oh, of course they didn't. Those prices reappreciated at a faster rate than historical averages within just a few years in most markets, didn't they? Did you hear what I just said? Those buyers ended up looking like geniuses who bought in 2010, 11, and 12. Those of you in areas with price drops, are you getting into dialogue with would-be buyers and/or investors? Are you talking about this on social to motivate buyers and educate would-be sellers? You must have local market data in your listing presentations, pre-listing materials, and buyer consultations. If you can't powerfully and succinctly speak to each of these 7 reasons why overpricing is such a bad idea, get into training with eXp University. Our sellers trust us to guide them based on what the market will allow and not simply acquiesce to what they will hope works. A couple of interesting trends in substitute options that we need to pay attention to. Where are all the buyers? They're now paying their landlord's mortgage because they've been told by the headlines that they can't afford to own. While that may be true for some, it is not true for all. Although we saw a surge in 1 million new apartments since 2024, multifamily completions has decreased by 29% year over year. The Q2 demand for apartments was 794,000, with only 536,000 apartments available. What does that mean? Rent's going back up. We've had more than 1.6 million new renters in this country since 2023. And that's more dramatic because the last 5 years, that number was completely flat with no growth. Delayed home ownership has translated to 72% of renters are over the age of 30, which is an all-time high. They don't think about it this way, but they're already paying a mortgage. It just happens to be their landlord, and it's your job to educate them. Look at the average rent across property types versus monthly payments for medium price homes at conventional rates today. Look at that. On average, renters are only $60 away from being a homeowner on a monthly dollar basis. Is there people in your database that are waiting for rates to come down and prices to fall? Appreciation is still going up across the country. Rates may move a little, but not dramatically unless we have an economic catastrophe. But you know what will go up? Rent. On average, rents have increased 5.4% for the last 25 years straight. The fact is, if buyers are waiting, let's say 3 years, at a 4% appreciation rate, rates would have to drop to 5.18 to equal today's monthly median payment. And worse, 3 years from now, the buyer will be buying that with inflated dollars. We need to talk about this and financing solutions for renters, because mortgages act like forced savings account in this country. And that comes with typically a 4.25% annual appreciation. My boy Brandon got ahead of me and stole some of my slides yesterday, so now I'm behind him. Look at investors. 33% of home sales in Q2. That's up from 27% of sales in Q1. These are not institutional investors. You're not competing with Blackstone. Over 90% of these investors own fewer than 11 homes. Those are regular mom and pop investors in your guys' database. And more important, what are you doing to become one of them? Not focusing on investors would be like in 2009, not learning how to do short sales and foreclosures. Go check out Expand Investing. I know Brandon had a session yesterday, but you could go find it on the website. You got to be able to share these types of data, stats in your market, and create FOMO for would-be investors who are already probably in your database. I want to end on our role as fiduciary guides for buyers and sellers, because right now we have to get into action and get loud in the markets with the solutions we have to help us navigate all of this. First, let's acknowledge that society is undergoing a massive shift, demographically, generationally, and household composition. Finding your tribe is crucial to your success. Speak to the wants, needs, dreams of a unique group, and you can serve more than one group. Top agents master multiple tribes, focus on a niche, and become the mayor of that niche. For instance, look at young boomers as sellers. Talk to them about their downsizing options. Look at the percent of buyers and sellers who are single. Are you talking to them? Look at the rise in share of net home ownership. Last year, 41% of first-time homebuyers were Hispanic. Team leaders, does your team look like the market you serve? And if not, go find someone who does. You may have heard a lot about clear cooperation policy in the news. I was most of it. MLSs ensure that realtors share listings across the market to benefit all buyers and sellers. Some of our competitors want to keep their listings in-house, and it could be a real possibility if we allow it to happen. But the data tells us a cautionary tale. To my friends across the industry, do you want to reduce your seller's equity when you sell their homes? And do you want to explain to your sellers that the reason their home is still on the market and hasn't sold because your brokerage needs to double end the deal to find profitability? You know what I'm talking about. This is something we all need to get very loud about and protect our clients so they preserve their faith in us. So a couple weeks ago, I was in San Diego and I was hanging out with Dermot Buffini, and we talked about 2024 numbers. There's so much talk about all the portals. The portal referrals only accounted for 9% of the business, guys. Look at that number. 66% of sellers were referred by a friend, a neighbor, or a relative, or they used the same agent that helped them on a prior transaction. Are you spending 66% of the time talking to people in your database? Are you following them on all their social platforms and engaging with them? Not sure what to do or say? I got you. This is a skill-based market, and it demands that you get visible and loud. I want to challenge each and one of you. If you follow EXP or me on social, you've noticed we've probably stepped up our frequency in posting. You are my audience. My job is to help you build your business. That's my goal. I'm doing it there because that's where the attention lives. I'm not buying billboards or TV ads. However you choose to communicate with your audience, now is the time. Be the voice of reason in a room of noise. I'm posting multiple times a day on multiple platforms, and you should too. It's not just facts, it's what to do with the information. Be the mayor of your village, the connector to the solution to their challenges. And like Churchill said, never let a good crisis go to waste. Reach out to your database. You guys ready for a script? With everything going on in the economy and the market, I wanted to make sure that I'm helping you understand exactly what that means on the single largest investment you own. Let me know if you want to talk. Get into training, level up so you're prepared to guide people through these challenges, and level up your lead gen to meet your goals. When I say be loud and help buyers and sellers accomplish their goals, there are a ton of opportunities to interpret national and local news and impact your audiences. Here are a few things to talk about to buyers and sellers. Go copy top YouTube agents like Soo-Min Kim and a bunch of others in our company. Most are educating in various parts of town in the city they live in. Also, help buyers understand builder deals available in their market, concessions, buy-down rates, or builder financing. Talk to builders. Ask them if you can come do home tours of their inventory for your social if you don't have any listings. Teach about seller financing and assumptions. Do you guys know that 40% of all homes in America are currently mortgage-free? Did you know that 20% of finance mortgages are FHA and VA and are almost all assumable? A great example is one of our agents, Luann, out of the Bay Area. When rates were 7.5% in April of 2020, she was able to assume a mortgage at a 2.25 rate on a $1 million home in Hawaii that was her dream home. Yes, Luann. It wasn't advertised in the MLS as assumable at first, and then the listing agent changed it, and then Luann jumped on it and got the deal of a lifetime. You need to educate yourself and then educate the market. There are down payment assistance programs in every county and every state. Use websites like Down Payment Resource to educate yourself to give you a leg up with your customers. And for sellers, whether they're not willing to do owner financing, give them that arrow in their quiver so you look like the expert at the listing presentation. And for future sellers not yet moving, help them reduce their housing costs today and create raving fans. Help them challenge their tax rate or shop for cheaper home insurance. We are already seeing a rise in short sales in South Florida, Dallas, and Phoenix. Not the Great Recession levels, but enough to build a significant business stream in some markets. So get into short sale trainings like the ones we hosted here at eXpcon. And if you don't know what I'm talking about on this list, neither do your consumers. First, educate yourselves, and then loudly educate them. It's simple. We need to be a real estate professional and guide in order to become their real estate agent. The economy and the market aren't holding you back. People will still buy and sell homes. I know plenty of agents in this audience having their best year ever because they got loud. My sincerest hope as the leader of this amazing company is that each and one of you will do the things necessary to prepare people to buy and sell, and that they choose you. Thank you for being here. Thank Thank you for all you do for your clients and peers, and I'm honored to serve you.
Thank you.